Hello and welcome to yet another edition of Nordic Market News. It is the 25th of May and we are recording this in the studio of Direkt on behalf of Infront Finance. Even though Friday seems to be ending on a high note, no one on the Nordic market has been able to make it into positive numbers this week, with the largest loss being Oslo with minus 1.6%. Year-to-date numbers are hanging around where they have been for the last few weeks, with Helsinki now leading the way with a total gain of plus 9.2%. The Nordic stock markets that were open started the week carefully optimistic with small gains as a result. Both Copenhagen and Oslo were closed for the holidays. In Stockholm, pharmaceutical company Zeneca were among Monday's winners after their drug against high potassium, Lokelma, was approved for the usage in the US by the FDA. In Finland, the OMXH was lifted by UPM Kymmene, who soared after having won a settlement issue in court against the Swedish competitor Stora Enso. On Tuesday, bid reputations became a reality after IAG, owners of British Airways, officially stated that they are preparing an initial bid of 330 NOK per share on Norwegian Airlines. Subsequently, Norwegian traded up to 273.5 NOK, a 9% climb for the day. In Copenhagen, the shipping conglomerate Maersk rose almost 5%. Analysts said that the rising share price to positive discussions between the US and China, in which China has agreed to lower tariffs on cars. In turn, this could increase trade volumes and therefore benefit Maersk in the long run. In Stockholm, the OMXS30 and banks were on the rise. The largest of the four traditional Swedish banks, Nordea, led the advance. On the other end of the spectrum on the OMXS30, Ericsson traded down 2%, and the fall is likely to be linked to the dispute between the US and China around Ericsson's competitor ZTE. According to the Wall Street Journal, US and China have agreed to make amends regarding ZTE, which is bad news for Ericsson. Nordic markets were shook on Wednesday by the turn of trade events regarding steel tariffs between the US and Europe. Notably, Swedish steel producer SSAB lost heavily, together with Finnish stainless steel producer and competitor Outokumpu. Many stocks suffered in the Nordics as traders were met with underwhelming macroeconomic PMI data from the EU area. PMI, or Purchasing Managers' Index, affects most companies since it's an indication of the well-being of the entire economy. As a result, 29 out of 30 stocks on the OMXS30 traded down. The bad mood from Wednesday spilled over onto Thursday, where the Nordic VINX 40, which is an aggregate for the most traded stocks in the entire Nordic region, fell by 0.6%. Pandora, the Danish jewelry maker, marked the biggest loss on the Danish markets, dropping almost 5%. The fall came as Carnegie, in an analysis, lowered their recommendation from hold to sell. With a few hours left of trading on Friday, the week seems to be ending somewhat higher on all the Nordic markets, resulting in about 0.5% increase in the Nordic VINX 40. The increased appetite for risk came after a positive return in the peace discussions with North Korea. Kim Jong-un released a statement saying he is ready to meet the president of the US for further discussions whenever he wants. That's it for this week's edition of Nordic Market News. If you enjoyed the wrap-up, give us a thumbs up below. I'm Melanie Sava, and I'll see you again next Friday.